Fencing makes me feel powerful. When I'm fencing, I feel like I'm on top of the world and I can do anything. I can take on anyone. My name is Cody Mattern, Team USA Olympian in sport of fencing in 2004. I joined the LA28 Athlete Fellow and the technology team. People always ask me about my origin story in the sport of fencing. All started when early in my life, I've been adopted a few times, and my second adopted family, me and my adopted brother, were on a road trip throughout Central Oregon, and we were trying to kill some time as we were driving around. And so one of the conversations that came up in this epic road trip was who would win a fight between a musketeer and a samurai. And so for 2 hours we argued, but couldn't come up with a solution. So the only logical thing at 15 years old to solve this debate was that one of us should take a fencing class and the other should take a kendo class, and 6 months later we should fight, and that would be how we determine which was the better. And literally from that point forward, I got into fencing, fell in love with the sport. We actually forgot about the original question. The thing that I loved about fencing was two things. One, I was homeschooled at that point, and I was looking for an individual sport. I was afraid I was going to continue to move around a lot, which was a big part of my history in my life. So I wanted something that I could continue to do even if I moved again. It's the no excuse sport to me, and it was always something that I wanted to get better, which to me was just kind of my MO in my life. If I wanted to improve something, I needed to take control and make it work. My time in the United States Army absolutely made me the best athlete I could have ever become at the end, and I can proudly say that after 7 years of service in the United States Army, I was able to finish it off with a world championship title, the first ever for the United States in our discipline ever since. Making it to the Olympics for the first time was a roller coaster, and on the year leading up to it, I was actually in a hit-and-run bicycle accident. I actually didn't learn to drive until I was 25. I rode my bike everywhere to save on costs, as well as just cross-training and fitness. So between things like that, traveling the world for 4 years in a row to try to qualify, because it's not a simple 1 year, you go out for it. I mean, it's a long process. I think that's really important for a lot of people to understand. It's not, I decided to do it this year and I made it. It's a long and arduous journey. So by the time I actually was on the team, it was the last event. I earned the points. I was on the team. I didn't believe it. I honestly still didn't soak in. I was on the plane going to Athens. I still didn't really believe it. I was like, I'm at the Parthenon. I know that I'm in Greece for the Olympics. I still don't believe it. I didn't really sink in until I had stepped off the strip, having fenced in the Olympics. And I'm like, okay, now I've done it. And that's the only time when it finally really sank in. And it's, wow, I did it. I'm an Olympian. I competed in the Olympic Games. I would say the most surprising thing about the Athlete Fellowship program thus far has been, first, this is the first time it's ever happened. It's just shocking to me that this is the first Games I've ever done that. And now to see it and see how successful it has been, it just is a no-brainer for how valuable athletes can be in this process for creating the Olympic Games. My passion for adaptive sports came from in my sport of fencing. We have both able-bodied and wheelchair fencing. And when I became an athlete representative, I had to represent not just my sport of men's epée, but also the women's side, as then also the adaptive side. So then I became a representative for everything. So I became much more aware of all these other aspects of it. And so I grew a real passion for that. I ended up coaching wheelchair fencing as well. And because of that, I started to get involved in a lot more adaptive sports, wheelchair basketball locally at UCLA, and through my work in athlete advocacy, I've seen that. And there really needs to be somebody to be a voice for that. And a lot of times it's athletes with disabilities, but it needs to be everyone. The thing I'm looking forward to most with LA's Olympic Paralympics is actually the Paralympics. I really see us being able to do a big change in the city for people with disabilities and disability awareness. And I really hope that we can do that both on technology as well as just infrastructure, the transportation. I know some of our other athlete fellows are deeply involved in that. And I really feel like that's a big win for us. It's the first time that LA's held and hosted the Paralympic Games, and I feel like it could do a big splash and make a big move.